There's a law of life that never fails. We become what we think about. Every man, woman, and child is a product of the thoughts they hold most often. Now imagine for a moment the young mind of a child, open, curious, impressionable. It's a garden waiting to be planted. The seeds we sow as parents will determine the harvest they reap for the rest of their lives. And yet, so many plant weeds without knowing. Words of doubt, fear, and limitation. But a wise parent, one who truly understands life, knows that the greatest gift they can give their child is not comfort nor wealth, but the right mental blueprint. The lessons that shape character, build courage, and awaken purpose. The first lesson every parent must pass on is the power of thought. A child must learn early that life is a mirror, reflecting what the mind believes. If they fill their thoughts with confidence, kindness, and determination, life will respond in kind. But if they dwell on fear, envy, and doubt, the world will show them only obstacles. Teach them to think deliberately, to guard the doors of their minds, and to remember. Whatever they plant in thought, they shall surely harvest in action. The second lesson is responsibility. Every person alive is the captain of their own ship. No one else can steer their destiny. Teach your children to stand tall and say, I am responsible. Not the teacher, not the friend, not the world. But responsibility is freedom. It gives a child the power to shape their own path. When they stumble, teach them not to curse the ground, but to rise, learn, and step again. Third, teach them integrity. In a world that often rewards shortcuts, show them that true success is measured not by what you gain, but by who you become. Integrity is the quiet voice that says, do the right thing. It is keeping promises, telling the truth, and walking a straight path even when no one is watching. A person with integrity may not move the fastest, but they will always reach the right destination. Fourth, instill in them the love of learning. Life never stops teaching, and those who stop learning stop living. Show them that education is not confined to classrooms or degrees, but found in books, conversations, and every experience. The mind is like a muscle it strengthens with use. Encourage curiosity. Let them ask questions, explore ideas, and see each day as an opportunity to grow. Fifth, plant the seed of gratitude. A thankful heart turns ordinary moments into treasures. In a world of constant wanting, gratitude brings peace. Teach them to look around and see how blessed they already are. The air they breathe, the love they receive, the chance to try again. Gratitude will anchor them in storms and humble them in success. And finally, teach persistence. Nothing of value is ever achieved without it. There will be challenges, delays, and failures, but each one is a teacher in disguise. Tell them that success is not a moment of triumph, but the steady march toward a worthy goal. That patience is strength, and perseverance, the mark of all great men and women. A parent's words are the building blocks of a child's destiny. Each lesson, each story, each quiet moment of guidance becomes part of who they are. So speak with intention, teach with love, and remember, you're not raising children. You're shaping the thinkers, dreamers, and leaders of tomorrow. Every great life begins long before the first success, long before the applause, long before the world takes notice. It begins in the silent workshop of the mind, in the quiet shaping of thought. The mind of a child is the most fertile field in existence. It waits, open and unguarded, ready to receive whatever seeds are sown into it. And here lies the greatest responsibility of a parent, to teach their children the sacred power of thought. That what they hold in their minds, they will one day hold in their hands. The invisible always precedes the visible. Everything a person becomes, every joy they experience, every mountain they climb, begins first as a single, persistent thought. When a child learns to think clearly, they gain mastery over the world within, and with it, the world without. Thought is the architect of destiny. A mind filled with courage builds a life of strength. A mind filled with fear shapes a life of retreat. This is why a parent must do more than feed and clothe their child. They must teach them to recognize that each idea, each belief is a seed. Left unattended, weeds of worry, doubt, and comparison will grow. But when tended with awareness, hope, and discipline, the garden of the mind will flourish with dreams and direction. The difference between a wandering life and a purposeful one lies in the quality of thought that drives it. Teach a child that life responds not to wishes, but to images vividly held in the imagination. If they see themselves capable, the world begins to rearrange itself in alignment with that vision. If they see themselves small and uncertain, opportunity will pass unnoticed before their very eyes. Thought is not idle, it is creative. It builds invisible structures that later manifest in reality. The child who believes I can begins to act as though they can, and through that action ability is born. Every invention, every discovery, every masterpiece began not with hands, but with thought. The airplane was once only a picture in the mind of a dreamer who refused to accept limitation. The cure, the symphony, the great novel, all began as unseen ideas. When a young person learns that their thoughts have power, they begin to understand the dignity of self-control. They learn to pause before reacting, to examine what they believe, and to choose the thoughts that serve them. This is true education, not the memorization of facts, but the cultivation of awareness. Parents must remind their children that thoughts are not accidents. They can be chosen, directed, and disciplined. The mind is like a stream. It flows endlessly, but one can guide its current. Let them see that negative thoughts are thieves. They steal energy, joy, and focus. But constructive thoughts of gratitude, possibility, and courage multiply strength. A child who learns to replace self-pity with problem-solving, envy with admiration, and fear with faith will never be a victim of circumstance. They will stand before life not as a beggar, but as a builder. Every day, the world whispers messages into young ears. What they can't do, what they should fear, who they should become. Without the armor of disciplined thought, these voices take root. That is why a parent must speak often of truth, that each thought is a cause, and every circumstance an effect. When a child learns to control what they think, they become immune to the opinions of the crowd. They discover that their life is not shaped by events, but by how they interpret them. Two children can face the same storm. One sees ruin, the other sees the test that will make them strong. The difference lies in the mind. Teach them that the mind is both a compass and a chisel. It points toward purpose and sculpts the character to achieve it. A child who learns to think with clarity and purpose will not drift aimlessly. They will navigate toward meaning. They will meet challenges with curiosity, not despair. They will understand that their circumstances are temporary, but their thoughts eternal, that no chain can bind a free mind. So, begin early. When they doubt, remind them that every great achiever once started uncertain, but believed they could. When they fear, help them see that courage is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it. When they fail, show them that failure is only feedback, an invitation to refine their thinking and try again. Guide them to see life as a mirror, reflecting what they think, believe, and above all, teach them that within their mind lies the power to design the life they dream, that their thoughts are the foundation upon which their future will stand. There comes a time in every young life when they must learn the truth, that no one else can walk their path for them. A parent can guide, support, and protect, but cannot carry the full weight of another's journey. Life is a personal voyage, and the compass that directs it lies within. The sooner a child understands that they alone are responsible for the course they set, the sooner they awaken to their true strength. Responsibility is not a burden. It is the highest form of freedom. It is the realization that destiny is not written by chance or circumstance, but carved by one's own choices. Too often, children grow up in a world quick to assign blame. The teacher, the system, the weather, the neighbor. Excuses are handed out like candy, sweet to taste but empty of nourishment. When a child learns to say, "It wasn't my fault," they surrender the very power that could change their life. Teach them instead to say, "What can I do about it?" That question transforms victims into victors. It shifts attention from what cannot be controlled to what always can. Their response, their effort, their attitude. The person who accepts full responsibility for their actions can no longer be defeated by setbacks. They simply adjust their course and move forward. Responsibility gives a young person the courage to look life in the eye. It tells them, you are not at the mercy of luck or others. You are the author of your story. Every decision, no matter how small, adds a line to the script. Each action builds a paragraph, each habit a chapter. If they choose wisely, if they act with purpose, their story will be one of strength and meaning. But if they drift, waiting for someone else to solve their problems, they will find themselves lost in a tale written by other hands. When a child learns to own their actions, they begin to develop integrity, confidence, and resilience. The one who blames cannot grow, the one who accepts can improve. Mistakes become lessons, not punishments. Each misstep becomes a teacher whispering, "Next time, do better." Encourage them to see every outcome as feedback. Did the result disappoint? Then something must be changed. Not complained about, but changed. A responsible mind does not wallow in regret. It learns, adjusts, and tries again. Responsibility is also the root of self-respect. A person cannot truly value themselves if they live at the mercy of excuses. When they begin to meet obligations, keep promises, and see projects through, something remarkable happens. They trust themselves. That trust builds confidence. Confidence builds courage, and courage allows them to take on greater challenges. Success is rarely the result of talent alone. It is the fruit of consistent responsibility. The habit of doing what must be done, whether one feels like it or not. A child must understand that life rewards the doer, not the dreamer. Dreams are only blueprints. Action builds the house. The world does not bend for wishful thinking, but it will yield to determined effort. When they begin to see that every choice carries consequence, they will take their choices seriously. If they neglect their studies, the grade reflects it. If they skip the work, the opportunity passes. But if they show up, learn, and persist, doors open. 'Cause in effect, a law as reliable as sunrise. Responsibility teaches them that they hold both cause and effect in their hands. Teach them to carry their own weight with pride. Let them experience the satisfaction of earning, creating, and contributing. The child who sweeps the floor well, finishes the task on time, and accepts correction with humility is laying the foundation for a life of excellence. Responsibility is not only about duty, it's about dignity. To stand on one's own, to know, "I did this," gives a joy no gift can match. There will be moments when they stumble, when the easier path tempts, the one where blame is cast and effort postponed. In those moments, remind them gently that every shortcut carries a hidden toll. The price is growth. Every time they take responsibility for a task, a mistake, a promise, they strengthen invisible muscles, discipline, willpower, and accountability. Over time, these become armor against life's uncertainty. And when they look back one day, they'll see a trail not of luck or coincidence, but of deliberate steps guided by their own hand. They'll understand that the one who accepts full responsibility stands not in the shadow of others, but in the light of their own making. Responsibility is not just about doing what must be done. It's about becoming who one is meant to be. The architect, not the observer, of a meaningful life. There is a quality more valuable than talent, more enduring than knowledge, and more powerful than circumstance. It is integrity. The unseen measure of character, the inner voice that whispers long before the crowd speaks, and the foundation upon which all true success must stand. It cannot be bought, borrowed, or faked. It must be lived. From the earliest days of life, when a child begins to understand the difference between right and wrong, a parent holds the sacred duty to nurture this inner compass, to teach not only the difference between what is easy and what is right, but why the right path, though harder, always leads to peace. Integrity is the quiet strength that guides choices when no one is watching. It is the promise kept, the truth spoken, the work done with excellence even when praise is absent. In a world that often celebrates shortcuts and rewards appearances, it becomes the rare jewel that separates the temporary from the timeless. A child who grows with integrity does not need constant supervision, because they have learned to supervise themselves. They do not act rightly because they fear punishment. They act rightly because they respect their own conscience. Teach them that integrity begins in the smallest acts. In telling the truth when a lie would be easier, in returning what is not theirs, in admitting mistakes rather than concealing them. Each moment of honesty is a brick laid in the structure of trust, and trust is the currency of all lasting relationships, in business, in friendship, in love. Once lost, it takes years to rebuild, if it can be rebuilt at all. Help them see that the cost of dishonesty is never worth the gain. A small deceit may bring temporary comfort, but it leaves a permanent crack in the mirror of self-respect. Integrity also means doing one's work well not for applause, but because one's name is attached to it. Let them understand that every task is a reflection of who they are becoming. Whether sweeping a floor or leading a team, the standard should remain the same: do it right. Excellence is a habit, and integrity is the habit's root. When a young person learns to give their best in every duty, They rise naturally, not by demand but by distinction. The road of integrity is seldom the easiest. It will test patience, courage, and conviction. There will be times when others succeed through deceit, when temptation whispers promises of comfort without cost. It is then the lesson must echo in their mind that real success cannot be built on shaky ground. A house raised on falsehood crumbles at the first storm, but one built on honesty stands unshaken. The child who holds to truth in adversity grows into an adult trusted by others, respected by peers, and at peace with themselves. Integrity also demands consistency, the alignment of words and deeds. Teach them that what they profess must match what they practice. To speak of kindness but act with cruelty, to praise diligence while embracing laziness, is to divide the self. When thoughts, words, and actions align, life gains clarity and direction. The dishonest man must remember his lies. The honest one is free to live without fear of exposure. This freedom, the freedom of a clear conscience, is among life's greatest rewards. Let them see integrity modeled, for it is better caught than taught. Children learn less from lectures and more from observation. When they witness honesty at home, promises kept, truth spoken gently but firmly, apologies made when wrong, they absorb the lesson deeply. They learn that integrity is not perfection but sincerity. It is not the absence of mistakes, but the presence of accountability. Integrity also guards against the erosion of character by small compromises. Many lose their way not through great betrayal, but through repeated concessions to convenience. Teach them to beware the phrase, just this once. Every time they lower their standard, they make it easier to do so again. But each time they hold firm, they reinforce their strength. The person who refuses to trade their values for comfort becomes unshakable in a world of shifting sands. In the end, integrity is more than a moral lesson. It is the blueprint for a meaningful life. It builds trust that opens doors no talent alone can unlock. It commands respect without demanding it. And it allows a person to stand before the mirror each day unashamed, knowing they have lived in harmony with truth. The child who grows with this understanding carries within them an invisible light, a steady flame that guides them through darkness, temptation, and doubt. That light is their integrity, and it will lead them unfailingly to a life of purpose, honor, and peace. The mind is a treasury far richer than gold, yet it yields its wealth only to those who learn how to open it. The greatest inheritance a child can receive is not fortune or fame, but the hunger to understand, the unquenchable desire to learn. Knowledge is not a collection of facts, it is a living force, a lamp that turns confusion into clarity and limitation into opportunity. When a child learns to love learning, they become a student not only of books but of life itself. They begin to see that every moment, every encounter, every question contains a lesson waiting to be discovered. The world belongs to those who stay curious. A curious mind is never idle, never stagnant. It looks at the sky and wonders why it is blue, at the stars and asks how they shine, at the human heart and ponders what moves it. This wonder is the spark of progress, the beginning of all invention. A child who grows up asking questions becomes an adult who finds solutions. Teach them that ignorance is not a flaw, but a condition easily cured by curiosity. And remind them that the wisest people are not those who know everything, but those who never stop learning. True education does not end with the ringing of a school bell or the closing of a textbook. It continues through every phase of life. A diploma marks only the beginning, not the end of understanding. Encourage them to see learning as a lifelong companion, a friend that walks beside them through triumph and trial alike. The day one stops learning is the day growth halts and the spirit begins to fade. Every new skill acquired, every idea explored, every truth uncovered is a step toward becoming more than they were yesterday. Learning is not always comfortable. It asks us to challenge assumptions, to question old beliefs, to admit we might be wrong. Many turn away from this discomfort, choosing the ease of certainty over the effort of discovery. Yet it is precisely in that discomfort that wisdom is born. The child who learns to welcome correction, to embrace the unknown, and to persist through confusion will rise above those who fear change. Life will present them with puzzles, and because they have learned to think, they will see those puzzles not as threats but as invitations. The classroom is only one of many teachers. Nature instructs in silence, showing patterns of patience and renewal. Work teaches discipline and perseverance. Failure, though unwelcome, is often the most devoted instructor of all. It reveals the gap between what is known and what must still be learned. Help them see that every setback holds a lesson and every success a test. The true learner asks, "What can this teach me?" in both joy and disappointment. A child's education must go beyond subjects and syllables. It must touch the soul. Teach them the lessons not found in curriculum: empathy, gratitude, humility, courage. Let them read not only books but people, not only words but emotions. A mind that knows the laws of science yet fails to understand the laws of kindness is half-educated. The purpose of learning is not to inflate pride, but to expand perspective. The more they learn, the more they should realize how much remains to be discovered. Surround them with stories of great thinkers and builders, those who rose not through inheritance but through insight. Let them see that every great achievement in history began with a student's curiosity. The bridges, the symphonies, the cures, the poems, all born from minds that refuse to settle for ignorance. Knowledge does not favor the privileged, it rewards the persistent. Any child, no matter their origin, can rise by the sheer force of continuous learning. Show them that reading is a conversation with the greatest minds across time. Within the pages of a single book lie centuries of experience distilled into sentences. When they read, they stand on the shoulders of giants, seeing farther than they could alone. But learning is not limited to reading. Observation, reflection, and application turn knowledge into understanding. To know is one thing, to live what is known is another. Wisdom emerges when knowledge is applied with discernment. Encourage them to see learning as an adventure, not an obligation. Let them chase curiosity the way a sailor follows the stars. Teach them that every day holds a new discovery, a new word, a new skill, a new perspective. The world is a vast classroom, and every experience, every person they meet, is part of the lesson. The child who embraces learning as a way of life will never be trapped by ignorance or confined by circumstance. Their mind will remain a horizon, ever expanding, ever seeking, ever becoming. There is a quiet strength that transforms ordinary days into extraordinary blessings, the strength of gratitude. It is not loud, not boastful, and never demands attention. Yet it has the power to lift the heaviest heart, to bring peace in chaos, and to reveal abundance even in scarcity. Gratitude is the lens through which life becomes brighter, richer, more meaningful. When a child learns to see through this lens, they awaken to the simple truth that happiness is not found in having more, but in seeing more. It is not what one owns that brings joy, but the awareness of how much one is already given. From the moment a child opens their eyes each morning, life offers countless gifts: the breath that fills their lungs, the warmth of sunlight across their face, the love that greets them in familiar voices. Yet, in the rush of growing up, it is easy to forget these silent blessings. The mind, if left unchecked, begins to dwell not on what is present, but on what is missing. It measures worth in possessions, compares joys with others, and finds only lack. Teach them early that this is a trap, a thief that steals contentment. The grateful heart, on the other hand, gathers joy from every corner. It sees beauty where others see nothing, lessons where others see loss, and hope where others see despair. Gratitude is not the denial of struggle. It is the recognition of light within it. When storms come, and they always will, a grateful heart does not curse the rain, but thanks the sky for watering the roots. Every challenge carries a hidden gift, and gratitude helps uncover it. The child who learns to ask, "What can I learn from this?" instead of "Why me?" grows strong, not bitter. They begin to understand that every trial refines, every hardship strengthens, and every setback shapes the soul. Gratitude transforms pain into wisdom, disappointment into patience, and endings into new beginnings. Teach them that gratitude must be practiced, not postponed. Too many wait for the perfect moment, for success, for comfort, for recognition, before they allow themselves to feel thankful. But gratitude is not a reward for achievement. It is the soil from which achievement grows. The one who is thankful for what they have uses it wisely, multiplies it, and attracts more of it. The one who scorns small blessings may never recognize the great ones when they arrive. Encourage them to begin each day with a thought of thanks, to close each night counting not burdens but blessings. This simple habit reshapes the mind, turning complaint into contentment, restlessness into peace. Let them learn to express gratitude not only in thought, but in action. Words of thanks are powerful, but deeds of appreciation speak louder still. A child who learns to show gratitude through kindness, generosity, and service grows into an adult who blesses the world. Gratitude is not passive. It compels one to give back, to uplift others, to share joy. When they thank a teacher with effort, a parent with respect, a friend with loyalty, they weave gratitude into the fabric of life itself. Gratitude also teaches humility. It reminds us that no one succeeds alone, that every step forward is supported by unseen hands. The food on the table, the roof overhead, the knowledge learned, all come through the labor, sacrifice, and kindness of others. When a child learns to recognize this interconnectedness, they begin to live with reverence. For people, for nature, for life. They no longer take the world for granted but walk through it with awareness, careful not to waste, harm, or dismiss the gifts they've been given. In a world that often chases what's next, gratitude anchors us in what is now. It slows the restless race and teaches presence. To notice the laughter in a conversation, the colors in a sunset, the comfort of a familiar hand. It turns fleeting moments into lasting memories because it asks us to pause, to feel, to acknowledge. The child who learns to live with gratitude will never live in poverty of spirit, no matter their circumstances. There is a simple practice that can change the course of a life each day. Find something to be thankful for. When the sun shines, give thanks for its warmth. When it rains, give thanks for its renewal. When you win, give thanks for the opportunity. When you lose, give thanks for the lesson. Gratitude does not change the world, but it changes the way we see the world, and that changes everything. A grateful child grows into a graceful adult, one who carries peace in their heart and light in their eyes. They learn that joy is not an accident but a choice, born of awareness and nurtured by appreciation. Gratitude is the quiet song of the soul, reminding us that even in the darkest hour, there is something, always something, to give thanks for. There is a law written into the fabric of life. Nothing of value comes easily, and nothing worthwhile is built overnight. The river carves the canyon not in haste, but through centuries of steady flow. The seed becomes a tree not by wish, but by patient growth through seasons of sun and storm alike. So it is with human destiny. Every dream, every ambition, every noble goal demands two silent companions, persistence and patience. To teach a child these virtues is to arm them with tools more powerful than talent, more enduring than luck. In the beginning, every journey feels exciting. The path gleams with promise and enthusiasm flows freely. But soon enough obstacles arise, the work grows hard, progress slows, and doubt begins its quiet whisper. This is the place where many turn back, thinking effort means error or delay means denial. Yet those who understand life's rhythm know better. They know that struggle is not punishment but preparation, that effort is not wasted but invested. The child who learns this lesson early will face challenges not with frustration, but with fortitude. They will come to see each difficulty as a test of worthiness, a chance to prove commitment, to strengthen resolve, to deepen character. Teach them that persistence is the art of continuing, even when the applause stops. It is the quiet decision to rise each morning and try again, to show up when others have quit, to believe when results are not yet visible. The one who persists becomes unbreakable, for they have learned to draw strength not from ease, but from endurance. Every step, no matter how small, becomes part of a larger victory. Success seldom arrives in a flash. It comes as a slow dawn, unfolding moment by moment to those who refuse to surrender to the night. Patience walks hand in hand with persistence. Without it, effort becomes frenzy, a restless grasping that leads only to exhaustion. Patience is not waiting idly. It is the calm confidence that growth takes time. The farmer does not dig up the seed each day to check if it is sprouting. He trusts the process. In the same way, a child must learn that worthy goals demand both effort and time. The flower blooms when it is ready, not when we command it. So too must they learn to give their dreams the space to grow, nurturing them daily but not rushing their unfolding. Life will offer delays, detours, and disappointments. They are not signs of failure, but invitations to grow wiser. The impatient see them as barriers, the patient see them as teachers. A door that doesn't open today may lead to something greater tomorrow. A setback may be the very training needed for the next opportunity. Teach them to ask, "What is this moment teaching me?" rather than, "Why is this happening to me?" For the one who learns from waiting gains not only what they sought, but also the strength to handle it. Persistence and patience together form the backbone of resilience. They shape the person who refuses to be defeated by temporary loss. History honors not those who began, but those who finished. Every discovery, invention, and masterpiece was preceded by countless trials, failures, and revisions. The difference between the one who succeeds and the one who fades is often no more than the decision to try once more. When the world says no, persistence says, not yet. When time says wait, patience says, I will. Let them see examples in the world around them. The mountain stands not because it is free from storms, but because it endures them. The diamond shines not because it escaped pressure, but because it was shaped by it. So too will they be refined through challenge. The heat that melts wax hardens steel. The same fire that breaks the weak strengthens the strong. Teach them to welcome resistance as the proof that they are moving forward. In moments of struggle, remind them that every great work once seemed impossible. The bridge, the invention, the symphony, each began with one step, one note, one idea pursued persistently. Progress is rarely dramatic, it is built in increments. Small efforts, repeated faithfully until they form greatness. Let them measure success not by speed, but by direction. A slow, steady climb is far better than a swift descent. When they fall, and they will, let them know that falling is not failing. The only true failure is the refusal to rise. Every stumble is a lesson in balance. Every delay a lesson in timing. The world belongs to those who stay the course, who plant their feet firmly and press forward through doubt, fatigue, and fear. With persistence, they will move mountains. With patience, they will learn to wait for the summit's sunrise, knowing it will come, not in their time, but in its own perfect time. In the quiet shaping of a child's mind lies the destiny of tomorrow. Every word spoken, every lesson shared, every example lived becomes a thread in the fabric of their future. When we teach them the power of thought, we give them mastery over their inner world. When we show them responsibility, we hand them the keys to freedom. When we instill integrity, we root their lives in truth. When we awaken their love of learning, we open endless doors before them. When we nurture gratitude, we give them peace in every season. And when we guide them in persistence and patience, we ensure they never falter before life's trials. The measure of a parent's success is not found in wealth or accolades, but in the character of the children they raise, in hearts that think clearly, act nobly, give generously, and endure steadfastly. Each of these lessons is more than advice. Together they form a blueprint for a life of purpose and fulfillment. The mind when disciplined, the heart when grateful, the spirit when steadfast. These create a human being who contributes, who uplifts, who leads. So plant these truths deeply, water them with love, and nurture them with example. For one day the child who once listened with wide eyes will stand as an adult, guiding others in turn. And in that moment, your lessons, those quiet seeds of wisdom, will bloom again, shaping not only one life, but generations yet to come.